welcome. My name is Lauren, and today I'm going to be showing you how I'm designing my January bullet journal spread. I can't believe it's a new year. It's kind of crazy. I feel like this whole year has just flown by, but yeah. So this month I decided to go with a winter floral theme, and I actually felt inspired to create this one based on a few different patterns that I've created in the previous few years for like my winter collections. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this one, and let's go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and get started. So I've sketched everything out in pencil beforehand, and this actually took quite a long time, and I added probably a few too many details than I needed to for this, just because I'm going to go over a lot of it in watercolor, but that's okay. So basically what I did for the calendar side of it is I created these different rectangle and square boxes, and then I'm coloring the inside of it with one of my Colors of the World markers. I think this is the Very Light Almond or Light Almond. In the top box, I'm writing out the days of the week, and then I'm creating the little grid for the calendar and days of the week. Very simple, nothing super complicated about this. I just kind of like to have an overview of the whole month and how the weeks are set up. So moving on to the other side of the page, I wrote out January, and then I kind of scattered all of these different winter branches and floral illustrations just kind of all around the calendar and around the word January, and just did some different combinations. And then I just painted them in. I blended up a few different like green variations, and I kind of wanted them to be a bit more of a cool tone, so I added in some purples and blues and some turquoise colors to blend in the green colors, and then I also added a little bit of brown to make a darker color to add a little bit of contrast for the branches and stems of the pieces. And then I did add in some little mini pine cones and some berries throughout some of these pieces too, and just kind of had fun with this. This was like very organic. It felt a bit more intuitive. It wasn't super I mean, there was some structure to it. I kind of had an idea going into it, but I just kind of added different pieces as they felt right, and as I was trying to fill in some of the empty spaces while also leaving in some white gaps. Like, I didn't want it to be too overwhelming with all of the winter pieces, and I wanted there to be some white spaces in between it. And then for the flowers on some of these different illustrations, I went with a white and blue flower, and I did add in maybe a little bit of yellow to that color combination to neutralize it a little bit, but I wanted them to be really light and very white, but with a blue tint to it, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what I did for those flowers. And then the branches were pretty easy to replicate. It's just a bunch of lines, and then I go over it a few different times and add in a darker color to give it a little bit of depth and shading. So, but yeah, those are very simple. And then some of the other leaves are also pretty simple too. I just kind of do a little basic outline, and then I add in some contrast to it, and sometimes I'll add in some lines for the veins of the leaf. Sometimes I'll just leave them just pretty simple. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. This was really relaxing for me to work on, and just kind of, yeah, felt fun to kind of play around with and not have it be super structured. So yeah, I feel like there's not a ton of explanation for how I'm creating these. So yeah, I mean, if you ever have any questions about any of my techniques or anything like that, or the paints that I use, just let me know. These are the paints that I've been using for the past few years, and I really like them. I think that the colors are really great, and I have these new paintbrushes that I really like, and I think they work well with the paper and the paints too. And I feel like I say this in every video, but the bullet journal that I'm using isn't the best for watercolors. It just doesn't blend as well as like a regular watercolor paper, but I still like to use it. It's just I can't use as much water when I'm painting these, just because it will kind of warp the page and not really bleed through, but it just like warps the page. So I have to add a little bit less water as I'm like painting in some of these pieces. But once I've like know how to paint on here, it makes it a little bit more simple. But you have a better effect when you're using regular watercolor paper, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, I also got a new iPad for Christmas, and I'm so excited about it because I can go in and start doing more digital designs for my art in different patterns. So I'm hoping that in the new year I can figure out how to do that. It's going to be a huge learning curve for me, but I'm really excited about kind of expanding my creativity and playing around with more digital art. I still plan to do my watercolor paintings, but I'm hoping that this will kind of elevate some of the designs that I'm doing and just open up some more possibilities and more options when it comes to even the bullet journal designing, as well as like all the patterns and stuff that I've been creating on the side too. I'm really hoping that I can share more of the patterns that I do, because that is kind of the main thing that I do in my business, but I also really like to do the bullet journaling, and I'm a big planner. I love setting goals. I love planning things out and making sure that I'm getting everything done. That's kind of why I like having the bullet journals, is because there's just a lot going on, and I want to make sure that I'm fitting everything in and getting everything done and making the most of my time. So yeah, that's where planning everything out just is really helpful. So anyway, moving on to the weekly spread here, I wanted this one to be pretty simple, but also, tie in with the winter florals. So I ended up doing these little sections on the side, and I just added in the different pine branches. I didn't actually add any flowers in here, but I did do some little berries, just kind of popping out here and there, and felt like this was pretty simple, but also tied in really well with the, whole theme of this spread. So, and again, these pine branches are just so fun and simple to do. Again, it's just a bunch of lines, but yeah, they're really fun to paint. So I really enjoyed them, and I think little berries are kind of just a cute little addition. And yeah, I mean, there's different ways that you can do this too. You can add in different flowers. You can, do different types of leaves or different berries, or, there's different ways that you can do this. It doesn't have to be like this. But yeah, this is what I ended up doing, and yeah, felt like it was pretty simple. And then I also went in and used one of my Colors of the World markers. There's so many in the package that I have that it's really hard to remember all of the names of them, but this was one of the almond ones that I did, and I just kind of colored the days of the week just to kind of give it that separation, and I feel like that kind of tied the color scheme in a little better with the cover page. And then I ended up drawing all these lines out for the days of the week. Here's the final flip through. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next video.